you're opposed to the Israel apartheid wall, for example, even being there, but that's an expression of free speech that you disagree with. Your response to the apartheid wall is obviously an expression of opinion that you would disagree with and find offensive. So why are you opposed to their expression of it?
Well, excuse me. It's a good question. It's a fair question. I was actually supporting, I want to see the principle of respect for the other implemented across the board. Now, I do think that there's a conflict between the principles of diversity in which people are forced to follow what you might call a politically correct line as far as any group is concerned, and freedom of speech. I think, but we're in a university. And the university is like a rare 4 years that you have to elevate your thought, to learn an elevated discourse. And I'm not for calling the campus police to tear down the apartheid wall, as offensive as it may be. But I would like to see the university community express the same kind of distaste for the apartheid wall as they would for a noose put on a professor's door, as happened at Columbia, where they practically shut the university down over it. Now, if you want to defend nooses on professors' doors, black professors, of course, all right. I think civility is an important value. I don't think there's any way to undo this. But in 1964, there was a so-called free speech movement on the Berkeley campus. Because it was organized by leftists, it really wasn't about free speech. What it was about was the right to conduct political activities on campus, recruit for political organizations, for example. The university capitulated, and I think that opened a Pandora's box that we can't close. The university should not be, like, I don't know, the Hannity and Combs show. It's a university. So if people feel, if Palestinian students on this campus feel that, that the Palestinians are oppressed, there should be a civil way to express that, rather than have a hate-filled wall confronting students when they're walking through the quad. If you have a quad here, you do like that. So anyway, that's a good question. But I didn't call for the, I've just characterized the wall. What you do about it is another matter. I do think if faculty and the student government here express their displeasure with that kind of expression. Look, when I submit an ad to the Daily Bruin, they put me through the ringer. I'm not allowed to say, the editor started with, my ad was called, "The Palestinian Case Against Israel is a Genocidal Lie." Well, he said, you can't generalize about Palestinian. Yeah, so he says, you got to take that out. And then if I use the word Arab, it's like saying, if you say Americans celebrated or glad to see Osama bin Laden dead, well, there are a lot of Americans that weren't glad, like Noam Chomsky. But would you, if you were the editor, what I'm saying is I'm censored. And I don't see the same attitude displayed towards other people. I mean, I'm willing to dance with the censor. I changed it. I said the case against Israel is based on a genocidal lie. I'm willing to, and I changed Arab to Arab states. Israel was not attacked by Arabs, it was attacked by Arab states. Okay?
Can I
So, yeah.
really quick response to that? But isn't genocidal at least, if not more so, a charge for it than apartheid? And
Is what?
isn't genocidal your word and your thing at least a charge? Isn't genocidal at least as the charge toward is apartheid?
Sure.
So are you advocating that they censor the other people as much as they censor?
You know, look, like I said, if there's a set of rules, I'll abide by them. Look, a war is being conducted against Israel on this campus and against Jews on this campus. That's my view of it. So I'm in the war, and I will fight fire with fire. And I wish there were the Jewish organizations on this campus which didn't support my wall and didn't support my speech here would do so. I want them to fight. However, I would really like to see the university enforce rules of civility. You have this on, you know, if you go on the web and if you're in academic websites, they never allow you to personalize an attack and so forth and so on. There are rules, and it changes the nature of the discourse. If this is a place where people are supposed to learn, the emotional noise is destructive to learning. I agree with you. I mean, if that's your position. All right, we can talk later.
If you have a question, feel free to line up on the two mics here.
Hi, Mr. Horowitz.
Oh, there you are.
Yes. I'm hoping that you can clarify something because you're both in the same area. The majority of the black people and the majority of the Jews in this country seem to be on the left. Now, you went full circles. Maybe you can shed some light.
I only went half circle.
Well, whatever circle you went from one side to the other. And so perhaps you can shed some light. Now, I do know some conservatives. It makes sense to me that they would be conservative, but for the most part, they aren't.
Well, those are two different large questions. I introduced the privilege of introducing Norman Horowitz at the Skirball Center, and for his last book, and thanked him for writing it because it's called "Why Are Jews Liberal?" And I said, well, now I don't have to answer that question anymore. I don't think I can answer that in a short enough time for this evening, particularly since you put two groups in there. I will say that from my point of view, now I marched in my first civil rights march in 1948, believe it or not, which is more than probably the parents of the students in this room longer ago than they were born. And it's always been close to my heart, the civil rights struggle. And I think one of the greatest obstacles for the black community to advance is that it's a captive of the political left. And you can see it in this. And I mean, this young woman who walked out, I mean, her mind is closed. She can't handle, you know, she should have stayed and expressed her point of view. And I would have answered her. I think it's just a terrible burden on the black community that it's so monolithic. And I'm hoping that will change. And I think it will. I mean, Republicans have elected several black congressmen, including the charismatic Allen West. Well, you all will have an opportunity if you want to hear Allen West because we're hosting him on July 19th. Just follow it on our website and come and enjoy it. So, you know, hopefully that will change. And perhaps the Jewish community will wake up now that its back's to the wall. So.
How you doing, David? My name is J. Mark Campbell. I'm with the UnitedWest.org Tom Trimbo's group. And we're actually streaming live on the internet to thousands of people, not just in this small room. And there's hundreds of Tea Party members. There's hundreds of Tea Party members actually wanting to know, should they be concerned about the Sharia, the Islamic issue? Why, if so, and why not?
Yeah, I'll just do that briefly. It's a mistake to see terrorism as the only threat. The Muslim Brotherhood devised a plan for what, in their words, destroying the American civilization, which was revealed the FBI captured these documents at the Holy Land Foundation trial. And what the document said is that we have to create institutions within American society to carry out this mission. The terror is an intimidation, but the real mission is carried out by these organizations. The first one created the Muslim Students Association. The second, and then CARE, Muslim American Society, Islamic Society of North America. And then that's where the serious threat is.
But why should the Tea Party groups be concerned with the Sharia Islamic issue?
Why?
Why should the Tea Party groups be concerned with the Sharia?
Well, the first thing is education. People don't know. People don't know. I mean, that's why they hate me. That's why all this effort to shut me down or to make people not listen to me is because of that simple fact. The Muslim Students Association is the Muslim Brotherhood. And they want to create an Islamic, global Islamic society. And that means everybody in this room who doesn't toe the line, whoever whoever controls the caliphate, is an infidel and is going to be a second-class citizen or a dead one.
I don't mince any words with this. When the Islamofascist terrorists commit those disgusting acts of murder against my fellow Jews, are they giving Islam a bad name, or are they representing the real teachings of Muhammad?
The $64,000 question. Look, after 9/11, I'll answer it as best I can. The question is, of course, are there any moderate Muslims? My quick answer is I want to see them. I want to see them defending the Jews. There are Jews. I mean, there are Jews all over Israel and the United States defending the rights of the Palestinians. Where are the Palestinians defending the rights of the Jews? Second, after 9/11, there were surveys done in the Muslim world by Al Jazeera and other similar institutions to see how many people thought that this mass murderer who struck a blow at the infidel capital was a hero to them. And the responses varied between 10% and 50%. That's between 150 million Muslims and 750 million. So I think that the Muslim world is a problem. And people who don't recognize that or who call somebody like myself an Islamophobe for even raising it are just in denial. That's just a form of denial. There were good Germans, but in the end they didn't make a damn's worth of difference. Yes?
Good evening. So I noticed that you briefly touched on the statement that you made that was posted on these flyers that you mentioned earlier, and then you began to digress and talk about our professors and how they need to take accountability for what they teach us. But I wanted to know if you can clarify what you would define as equality and freedom, because this is a pretty powerful statement and you didn't really explain your definition of what equality is and freedom is. Because according to me, I work in the Black communities all the time, and I'm not seeing equality and freedom as far as the resources with schools and jobs in these neighborhoods. So I completely disagree with this statement. So I just wanted to know what you define as equality and freedom.
Okay, can I ask you a question? Do you vote Democrat?
Excuse me?
Do you vote for the Democratic Party?
Yes, I do.
You do. Are you aware that every major inner city where these problems exist, where the schools are destroying the lives of Black children, every single one of them, whether it's New York, South Central LA, Detroit, Chicago, Philadelphia, Harlem, St. Louis, every one is 100% controlled by the Democratic Party. The school boards, the school districts, the city councils, 100% controlled by the Democratic Party, and have been